Are we ready to talk about The Leftovers? Don't be ridiculous. Of course we are. We're talking about Season 3, Episode 2, Don't Be Ridiculous.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey guys, welcome back to AFTERBUZZ TV for The Leftovers After Show. We'll open it up with some Wu-Tang Band. Roxy's doing the robot. I don't know.
I was trying to get a wave going on, but nobody was joining.
You mean like that? And then like that?
That's not the wave, but I will join you guys.
Oh yeah, that's this one. Cool.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us for tonight's episode. We're talking about the episode Don't Be Ridiculous, the second episode of Season 3, The Leftovers final season. I'm your host, Zach Wilson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ThatZachWilson. And I have with me the one and only Roxy Striar.
That's me. You guys can find me at Roxy Striar. So excited to talk about the show.
And the one of many, Steve Kaufmann.
I'll have you admit, I'm the one of 4 Steve Kaufmans, and you can find me on Twitter at Steve Kaufman, KAUFMANN. I'm the only one at AfterBuzz TV.
Yeah, no, there's a running gag that no one can figure out if it's me, Steve Kaufman, Jesse Klein, or Mark Donica talking. It could be one or any of us.
Me and Mark Donica, it's pretty much a coin flip.
Because you're all white dudes?
With big beards.
And cover nerdy stuff.
It's the beards. Cool.
Me and Mark Donica, we both cover wrestling stuff, so it's really difficult.
And me and Jesse just talk about the same Marvel nonsense for hours and hours on it. We're talking about The Leftovers.
Yeah.
I love this show so much.
I know. It was amazing, and like from the second it starts and it's bizarre and we've got that new opening, you're just kind of like, man, this show rocks. Look, what are they doing with this theme song and this show? But wow.
This show, like, the theme, we'll talk about the theme song. People were even surprised in the chat roll that we didn't open up with the Perfect Strangers theme song, which was what the opening card was, Nothing's Gonna Stop Me Now.
Right. We just need to have more energy going into the show. So Wu-Tang Band, I feel like, really hyped us up.
I was getting ready to start with that song. I wrote it down
Me
when
too.
I heard it, but then then the whole Wu-Tang thing happened, and I was just like, nope, open to the Wu-Tang. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to get all into Nora's plotline, because this was obviously a Nora episode, and we're absolutely going to talk about that ending. That ending, though, but we'll talk about that towards the back of our after show, so you have to stick around for our theories on that.
So many.
But we opened up the episode with Tower Santa Jesus Man. I think that's what we called him last season.
Yes,
That's where we landed in the first episode when we first met him.
He died.
I felt so guilty because I forgot about him, and now he's dead, and I don't even have time to.
I had notes about him last week, but it was like he was such a minor.
He was
just
one line.
there.
He was one
Right.
line last week of Tower Man has precedent.
Exactly, and it
Church of Busey, you got to take Busey down.
It didn't matter as much as Busey mattered last week, and I feel bad because I don't feel like I paid him the respect that he deserved after last season. We stood up for this man. We talked about him so much, and now he's dead, and Nora and I both were pissing all over him.
Well, it's not his fault, although he did ditch his wife, apparently.
Well, I think now we know the context of him, and we can objectively judge him.
Know,
whereas before, now we had our own theory.
We got a few little nuggets of who this person was. He abandoned his wife to go up in this tower for whatever his reasons are.
Well, to feel pain. To suffer.
But now, they basically want to deify him, post death, and the way that his wife and everyone chose to try to do that was to lie about him departing.
Did you guys see parallels with this and with what they're trying to do with Kevin's story?
Yes, and also with Evie and pretty much everyone, and even why he was up in the pillar. Everyone's searching for meaning.
Well, there is maybe a parallel between him and Kevin, but the difference is with Tower Man, his wife was just straight up lying, trying to give him a legacy that they felt he deserved. For Kevin, it is them trying to make sense of things that have happened that they cannot make sense of.
Well, I'm not necessarily talking about the wife. I'm saying the rest of the people who followed what the wife said.
Oh, yes. In that case, in that sense, yes,
And
absolutely.
all these people that were bringing into the station, and you've got that girl, and she says, well, I didn't exactly see it, but for sure he departed.
Yeah, but I'm absolutely going to reaffirm the story I want to be told.
Right.
Yeah. It's because, I mean, in this world where people's faith has been so cast into doubt, they are now, like, everyone is looking for something to believe. They want, they want to know the answers to where the 2% went. And they just feel like if they can get even just a little bit closer to what else is out there, they might be able to figure it out. They've been teased with the idea that there is more to this world than we realize, and they can't get any further.
What I thought was exciting about this episode, and more specifically about Tower Jesus Santa Man, was...
Sticking with that.
Yeah, for sure. Was that I never thought we were going to touch upon this. I never thought this show was going to answer how he got up there. I never thought they were going to answer how he ended up getting down. I never thought we were going to get that. And that was something that I didn't know if it mattered, but it did. It did matter. And what people do with that kind of story, it's kind of slice of life. And I thought that was cool that they decided to include it when we don't have that many episodes, and they could have just glossed on over
I agree with
Yeah.
you, but it's because I never thought they'd spend 2 more episodes in Jarden in season 3. Like, I thought we would start... I thought we
Yeah.
would wind up in Australia.
Very quickly.
The fact we're in Jarden at all, I'm still like, oh, this is awesome.
I agree. It surprised me last week.
Because they left a lot of stuff, like, season-wise, where it's like, oh, they're going to wash, rinse, repeat. They're going to have a big, epic, huge flashback up top, no entrance, and then they're going to change the music and the opening credits a little, and then they're going to be somewhere else.
We knew we would start in Jarden at least because of the previews that we've seen with them at the airport. That's what everybody was talking about, them going to Australia. They had to be going from somewhere. But I'm with you guys. I never thought it would be 2 full episodes of us here in Jarden. That was a big surprise.
Yeah, at least 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like the discussion at the end of the episode about Australia aside, like, we don't know. We could get other. Well, we got previews, but anyway, we don't know that this is the last we're going to see of Jarden.
Well, we definitely could come back.
Yeah.
They've given us too much. They've
yeah.
given us too many routes to, like, fully leave Jarden at this point for season
we left
3.
enough behind from in Mapleton in season 1. Like, we don't even remember.
Right.
What happened to Amy?
Yeah.
We forget that she was even... We had huge theories about Amy, like that she was deeply connected to all this and that she was a ghost living amongst
Or
them.
what about the twins?
The twins?
The twins.
They're all in Australia, right? No, they're probably all in Mapleton, and there's no meaning to anything ever.
The show has precedence for, like, starting something and then just letting us sort of believe.
That's probably why I never thought we were going to figure out what was going on with Jesus Santa.
Well, we still don't know all of it. Like, we sort of get this, like, we get these little hints. Like, he maybe was a marine biologist before the departure.
Some type of scientist.
I feel like I know enough now, though.
Yeah. Oh, I don't need,
I know
to
that
get
he
deeper.
We got enough.
I know that he needed to suffer, and I know what happened after his death.
Yeah.
And what people did when somebody said, this is not our Messiah, but he departed, and how people rallied around that. We know what this culture is like now.
Yeah. Do you think, like, we'll just finish out his storyline. Like, do you think that Nora was justified in her actions to, like, when she, like, stormed up? Like, she was obviously very upset, and we're about to get into all of Nora's storyline that led her to this. But do you think she was justified in putting that image of his corpse out for everyone to see?
I think so. In a world where otherwise people are believing that this man departed and that there's something otherworldly other than the first departure, she's within her right and within the emotional roller coaster she and I hope all of us went through in this episode to be like, you know what? This is something I can control. This guy died. Here's the picture of his corpse.
I saw this coming from a million miles away. A lot of things on the show I don't see coming, but this, I knew she was going to pull something like this. I see so much of myself in Nora, and when I watch her make these choices, and when she goes through all these things, I'm like, wow, I think I would play this the exact same way. That being said, do I think what she did was necessary? Absolutely not. Justifiable? Maybe, but try not to yuck other people's yum. When people find hope, even if it's an ant, even if it's a sandwich with Jesus on it, you know, people have come up with these things in the most wild of places. I think you let people have a little bit of hope, and I don't think what she did was the right play.
I don't know. I'm torn it because I totally understand that side of it. That like there is especially with religion, there's a certain amount of just like live and let live. I do think that it is like the reason that she is doing it is not like necessarily just to disprove a liar, but because as somebody who suffered as bad as anybody could from the departure, she lost her entire family and doesn't know what happened to any of them. I think it's an insult to her to have this woman who does know what happened to her husband try to lay claim like to the same thing, and I think that she feels like it disrespects what she had to go through.
Right, but listen to your words. It's about her. She's not doing it for them. She's doing it for herself.
But I think
I think I would have done the exact same thing, but I don't think it's necessarily the right move because it's about not feeling respected. It's about not feeling like you're getting what you deserve. It's not about enlightening these people because they need to know. They clearly don't need to know. The signs were all pointing there.
But at the same time, that part of it is about her. But like her job is to investigate and disprove fraudulent things at the departure. There has not been a second departure, and to let people believe that is dangerous because it could be dangerous because you don't know who's going to claim it next. You don't know who's going to justify things because of this.
Same thing with religion, Zach.
But you can't justifiably unprove all religions. She could justifiably prove that Tower Man had a heart attack and fell off the tower, and I think it's belief against. It's the ideal of a belief against pure fact.
It maybe
and
wasn't.
She could, that's how she's going to rationalize it. Whether she was right or wrong is
maybe it wasn't the right way to go about it. But I do stand by that. I think that it was not just justifiable, but right to make the announcement to tell everyone like, look, this was a fabrication.
So many other ways she could have done it.
Yes, slamming the picture. Very loud to everything, but I ultimately the letting people know I would stand with her. All right, let's get back into the other. But I said it's going to be lighter. Let's get back into more of Nora's storyline.
Yeah.
Because there was a reason for the cast. We had speculated last week.
Yeah, I knew it. Knew it.
She did it to cover up a tattoo.
In all fairness, I said car accident. It was
That's
car.
Technicalities.
Yeah.
She wins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're also still correct in the sense that actress could have just broken her wrist for the shooting of the first episode, and they had to write around it.
It happens in TV shows a lot.
I thought that this was fascinating that she did this. At first, I thought when she went to the hospital, we were going to play a painkiller game here. That she had broken her arm on purpose because she was now addicted to painkillers.
Well, that's why the doctor was questioning her about it.
Absolutely. So that's what I thought we were going for. And I was thinking to myself, I don't know. She just doesn't seem to me like somebody who is trying to cover up the pain in that kind of way. I don't know if that would be true to her character. I was really happy with the actual revelation of why she did this.
Yeah.
I thought that was brilliant, and I never would have guessed.
Oh, yeah. It was a fascinating choice for the character. It was just like so heartbreaking watching her describe the tattoo, like getting the tattoo, and like, it hurt.
I know.
So many moments in this episode like hurt to watch.
Her entire thought process is the thought process I've gone through every time I've ever wanted a tattoo, which is why I don't have any.
What did you think about her decision to go see Erica? Were you guys surprised by that being the person that she spelled this to?
That's a
No, because they were friends already, and like basically all this, what this revealed is just that they have kept in touch. I don't know where Erica was though. Like they didn't really establish like where that took
She
place.
flew into Austin to go back to Jarden, so she's somewhere within the Austin airport and Jarden.
Okay, so it is near.
I'm a weirdo, but yes.
Okay.
Why are you weird?
Yeah, that's not weird. Thank you for tracking it better than I did.
No,
Because I watched it twice.
I should be more. I should be more worried about the characters and the development and the story, not the
No, I think-
geography of everything.
Oh, she's in Austin city limits somewhere.
Yeah. Somewhere within
Yeah.
driving distance of Jarden.
It was an interesting choice. You know, as close as Nora and Kevin are, and as many strengths as their relationship has, the fact that she chose Erica to tell this to and not go home to her husband to tell this to.
Boyfriend,
sorry. Yep. Her, what did she call him in this episode? Very serious significant other or some. What did she referred to him in some way?
I don't remember the wording.
Boyfriend. I'm seriously seeing somebody or whatever it was. That's a choice. And I was a little surprised with that she went to Erica.
Yeah, I mean, the whole reason that she broke her arm to hide it from Kevin. Like, that's the only person that she would have to hide it from. Because with everybody else, she could just wear a longer sleeve shirt.
For how long? Yeah.
But how long was the cast going to stay on? Like, no one would be suspicious if she wore long sleeves for 2 months.
It depends what month we're in. But yeah, that's true. That is true.
Kevin was going to see her naked at some point. So he was going to be like, Wu-Tang?
Good for you. Like, yeah.
And I think she was just trying to figure out how to, probably more than anything, how to tell Kevin.
But what was so interesting about the juxtaposition of what she worked in on him doing, what she came in, was so crazy because
Oh, God.
she's sitting there, how do I tell him, how do I tell him, how do I tell him, when you get in that thought process and you become me, and you walk in and you're like, well, this man's got his head in a frickin' plastic bag. So
he's either asphyxiating himself to feel or he's asphyxiating himself to die in our realm to go to a hotel that he hasn't told me about at all.
Right. It makes my tattoo seem a little smaller right now.
I'm pretty sure I could
yeah.
Yeah.
He's not going to notice.
I just think life is ironic that way, where if you ever have a big secret and you're so nervous to tell somebody, there's probably a bigger secret out there.
Yeah.
And your secret's never usually the biggest one.
And Nora is going to understand more than literally any other person in the world. This is a person who, because don't forget, Nora paid prostitutes to shoot her in the chest wearing a bulletproof vest.
Right.
She understands. And, like, that's the thing when she goes up to him, like, he's afraid she's going to be angry or upset. And she's just like, I understand.
Question. Do we believe him? Do we believe he takes it off every time? Do we believe he's only doing this to feel?
I don't believe him.
What do you think?
Pure science would explain he could come close to that, and his idea of I only do it to feel would mean he comes very close to death and then has some type of vision that is that hotel. However, I think from our perspective, he's getting to death or close to death, and then he's going to that hotel and he's talking to his father, who also does that, who lives in a different country, which is why he heard the dog whistle, as I'll say, of, oh, Australia? You're going to Australia? Like, I think that's what's happening.
What do you think, Zach?
Oh, I'm so torn. He says, so what he volunteers is, like, his reaction is, I tear it off every time.
I only do it to feel.
I just do it to feel I don't want to die. Mm-hmm. He's clarifying that he's not suicidal to Nora, which I think is important, and I believe him when he says he doesn't want to die.
I believe him with that too.
Yeah.
You can see that in his eyes. But the question is he doing this because he knows he can't die?
Back to the hotel.
Yeah, I think die is a weird... I don't want to die is the telling sentence here, because I think Nora's realm is different from his realm. That I don't want to die, to him means I can die in this realm, go to a hotel, and then wake up and tear the bag.
I think maybe what he does is gets, like... Because I'm not sold on the... he dies and comes back, like regenerates basically. Yet.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
then
not
he'd be Peter Capaldi.
By the way, I'm not sold on any bit of anything.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
but
I don't know.
could see him getting to a point where, with the asphyxiation, where he essentially like rips it at the moment and passes out. So he passes out and then is able to continue breathing. Like if he's done this enough times, he'll know that moment, and that gets him back to the hotel. At least in his mind.
I actually like that because then in both realms that could be explained by science. Because he didn't die. He didn't die. He had a near-death pass out of asphyxiation, and then he had a dream or a vision or a whatever science within our realm could describe.
You guys write in the comments what you think if you're watching on YouTube. I gotta know. What do you guys think at home?
Yeah, Brent William Henry says Nora is the leftover. There's a lot of theories about like where Nora stands going on right now.
Yeah.
There are also some theories about where the 2% went versus the 98%. And that's the whole show, but some are arguing that those 2% actually went to what we would call hell, and that the 98% were the leftover.
Interesting.
Some are arguing that the people right now are on like an alt universe, and the 2% are the ones that were left on our actual universe. So I've seen that's a you.
That's the one I've been shouting for like a year.
That the current one is the alt universe.
That there's
I thought
two
Earths.
Earths.
I thought you said the 2% went to an alt universe.
Oh,
I'm
I
saying
didn't
the
even.
opposite
I
of
don't
that.
even consider one the alternative and one the real.
The
There's
2%
just
went to
now-
another.
There's just two. The Earth was like effectively
But
torn.
what I'm saying is that
well.
people are saying that the 98% are the ones that departed, and they went to an alt place.
Yeah.
So similar.
Quantum theory would say that that's true, but that every decision anyone's ever made creates a different Earth. But we don't have time to get into that.
No quantum stuff today, Steve. However, we do have some science, but maybe to talk about.
I Google it. It's
From Martin Lynn Baker of Perfect Strangers. This was unexpected.
It was unexpected for so many reasons. It was unexpected that Nora followed through with all this. It was unexpected that he existed at all, and that there's this radiation thing going on.
Well, that actually has some
Merit.
Well, they've touched on this with Nora. This is really, I think this is the third time that we've done something close to this with her. Because in season 1, we had the scientist who wanted to buy her house.
Yeah.
In season 2, we had those guys show up with all the lab kits, and we had the
they
whole
were talking
discussion about
her,
lensing.
that she was a lens to.
That she was a lens to which meant that like she gave off some kind of rays that, because she had more of them, caused her family to depart. And then those guys that seemed super scientific started talking about, we believe this is all because of the demon. And I forget which demon it was. Is it Hazel?
Yeah, it was Israel.
Is she going through with this because she thinks that there's a possibility that it will work, or is it because it's her job and she needs to see how far that this goes?
I think it's 80-20 job and 20% possible. 80% job, 20%. Well, maybe I should listen to these people and give them 20 grand, and like I'm in a position where I can truly expose them.
Yes, I agree, because I think even if she wasn't in the emotional position that she was in, it is her job to follow up this kind of lead.
So if that's the case, will she tell Kevin what she's going there for?
Hopefully.
She should.
Probably.
I don't necessarily think that she will, because I think she wants to meet these people first. I think she wants to see what they do because of that 20%. Because there's a part of her, and I think that everybody can relate to this at a certain point. Like whether it's to a family member, to a significant other, to a friend, there are things that like thoughts you have, or like beliefs, or something like just some secret of some kind that like you want to tell for a bunch of reasons. But for like a couple, you don't really want to let them in yet. And you're sort of waiting until like one side sort of weighs down the other. And I think because there's like a 20% part of her that is doing this because she thinks it might be real, she doesn't want to let Kevin know. Because she has a perfectly legitimate excuse. That like she may even be telling herself is the reason she's doing this.
Right.
I could
She
buy
may
that.
do, like she watched the testimony of over 100 people who basically potentially have been incinerated by nuclear
So sad.
radiation.
So
I do want
sad.
to point out that this is a beautiful piece of writing in itself and she mentioned it as a carrot stick to another professional, which leads me to believe that this is maybe not incinerate with radiation, but the idea of we'll take your money and bring
We
you
know
up
the
there.
answer.
Like, we know the answer, people, whether that's cults, whether that's just straight up fronts. I think it's very, very well written, beautifully written, that all of the testimonials she saw were just people who said, yeah, they're going to shoot me with radiation, and then I'm going to go see my loved ones, without any provability that they actually got to see their loved ones, which is, as an example, the equivalent to religion in general.
Yeah. Interesting stuff right now in the chat. Christopher Mullen, will Nora put Kevin through the incinerator since he can't die? Or I think more apt question, would Kevin put himself through the...
Even though it seems similar, the book and the incineration situation, they're both, you need to have your imagination stretched to believe either one of them. Nora is based in science, and if there is any sort of science into this radiation or whatever it is, I could see her believing in that more. I don't think she will ever believe that Kevin can't die or whatever the Kevin Bible is trying to claim.
You need to see that.
But I think that makes it a better question. Like, if Kevin finds out about this, and if Kevin, because we're not sure right now, if Kevin truly believes that he cannot die, would he be willing to go through with it? Would he offer himself up to go through with it?
I think as of this moment, Kevin doesn't believe that. In some way or another.
Is it about a miracle? Is it about miracle, or is it about that he can't die? Because Kevin might, even if he thinks he can't die, he might think it has to do with location.
Yeah.
But they made a point to mention that this whole operation's mobile. That if that were the case, he could say, bring your equipment to Jarden. Bring your equipment to Miracle, where I believe I can't die. He doesn't believe that yet. I could see him believing that in the next 6 weeks.
Yeah. And then the other point, Brent is asking, Nora doesn't do it, right? We've seen her as an older woman. Unless that's on another plane of existence or another Earth, and she did go through it.
Or that's what happens when they shoot you. You go to
Australia.
You go to Australia and aged like 20 years.
Well, that could be like down the line. Like they're playing with the show plays with time.
Yeah.
So that could be her on another world after going through. We don't know.
You watch The Flash.
I've read The Flash. I think we're all.
Look, as a comic book reader, I'm no stranger to the alternate Earths theory.
All timelines.
DC or Marvel or any science fiction ever.
I'm with you.
Doctor Who, like they've all got it.
Yeah.
I think I like this show because it's a pretty straightforward drama with one thing that could be construed as science fiction.
Yeah.
And then it constantly, like, every week dips a toe into the science fiction. Like, nope, we're good.
Yeah, it teases you with it, but they're like actively like, oh yeah, we're never gonna like confirm that.
Yeah.
Oh no.
You wanted to speculate? Well, have fun. But that's what's great about this show. I'm fascinated by, like, and this guy basically has the same, like, not the exact same because it wasn't necessarily direct family, but Martin Lynn Baker had the same odds as Nora, like a close-knit group of 4 people, and 3 of them gone. In this case, 3 cast members of the show, and I love that they like went and got an actual like actor.
That was amazing, by the way.
Incredible.
Followed him on Twitter immediately.
It was interesting though, and why I actually really liked hearing that his 3 cast members had departed as well is because we're going with this whole Nora cursed theory. Nora cursed. We heard about that. I think that a lot of people feel that way in their lives, even on this earth, even here where nobody's departed. They feel as if they've been cursed. And even if it's something like 1 in 100,000 or whatever her number is,
1 in 128,000.
1 in 128,000, there's still billions of people. There's still so that's a lot of people still that also feel cursed. So I don't believe that she is cursed. I don't believe that it's her. I believe she's been unlucky, and timing hasn't met well with what's happened in her life.
Yeah.
But I'm not buying into Nora cursed. And I hope she doesn't either, because that will drive a person insane.
Like
Like
getting shot in the chest repeatedly insane?
like coming home and finding your husband or your boyfriend in a bag and being really chill with it.
I mean,
Super chill.
I wrote down, Nora, the most supportive girlfriend ever.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And then that moment, let's have a baby.
Okay, well, we have to get to that by her going to see Lily.
You're right. We do have to go back. Let's go. Okay.
Because that's why it's even more ironic.
Yeah. It's okay. Let's jump back to Kentucky. She drove after meeting with Martin Lindbaker, and we do find out Lily's not dead. You're sort of
Yeah.
afraid that she was.
called it.
No. Christine came and got her because Christine never technically gave her
No.
up, at least
No.
from a legal standpoint.
So this is what we talked about last week,
Yeah.
that it could have been a custody battle, and it sounds like it wasn't even a battle.
It was
it was a custody handover exchange. I'm surprised that Nora didn't put up a fight. I'm not saying she should have, but this surprised me.
I think Nora explained her motivations very clearly. Like
Very well.
I saw a mother who lost her child and could get her child back. As someone who lost their children and can't get them back, there's no contest here.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought that was perfectly put, and I love that she did that, but I feel awful for her. Awful. And what is the limit of what would you call it? Limit of statutation?
The statute of limitation on that?
Statute of limitation on like how long you can raise a kid and have adopted them, but if their mom comes back.
There are, I think, different. I think it varies state to state on the specific laws of that. But they legally adopted Lily, and this is a kind of situation I think where it becomes case to case, and it's up to the judge at a certain point because they did have a legal right to adopt, but Christine
Has a legal
never-
right to custody.
Yeah, but Christine never officially gave up that custody. But you could argue that she abandoned the child. It's a very hairy situation that could have gone and been drawn out for a long time in court. And basically, Nora decided to spare Lily and themselves that hardship.
How much communication do you think Tommy and Christine have?
Now? Probably a lot.
Probably, I would say probably semi-regular check-ins. I don't think that they are necessarily like...
Enough to know
Close.
within a day or two's notice that Nora showed up, but that could have been out of the blue.
Christine was wearing a wedding ring, I believe.
Ooh,
And had another kid.
Yeah.
somebody hit pause.
I don't know. It's interesting. We don't know what we don't know. But they at least have each other's numbers.
Yeah, they're definitely communicating. And in that situation, it would be, yeah, I absolutely have to tell Tommy.
Kayla in the chat says, why didn't Nora ask for visitation rights? You don't just stop being a child's mother. She could have made a deal so that she could at least see the child every once in a while. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's the kind of thing where, look, she cared for her for a year. And not to diminish that at all, but I can only imagine that would be excessively confusing for Lily.
And that's kind of what Tommy tried to say.
Yeah.
Which was interesting.
And I think, and also the timeline is such that she cared for her a year up until the season finale of season 2, and then it was a 3-year gap.
Yeah, so Lily's about 4.
So it could be up to, and it seems fairly recent given that party that everyone was asking about Lily, that it could be she cared for Lily for 4 years.
For 3.
3.5, like even more than in our minds are comprehending, because because of a 3-year gap, and it all seems so recent that it could be within 6 months of the days we're watching.
No, because Nora says that Lily didn't recognize her, and we can see on her face that she
True.
didn't. So I think it was.
But Nora
Years,
seems surprised
okay.
by that. So, I mean, it could be up to 2 years maybe then.
Yeah, maybe she was like 2. But like, yeah, you're not really forming memories at 2, so it's the kind of thing where like she adjusted but doesn't remember. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine going through that or what the decisions are, but I imagine that the right to visitation was just sort of like, it's easier if you don't.
So then the irony, going back to what you were talking about,
is when Kevin is like, let's have a baby. And
she just laughs.
She just bursts into laughter. And so much good acting in this episode from Carrie Coons, but also like that Justin Theroux's face.
I know.
After she's laughing and he turns like, oh my God, like just an expression broke my heart.
Me too, because you guys have all been through this before, where something you're kind of nervous to bring up to somebody, you have an idea, you really want it, and then the worst thing that anybody could do, you're like, okay, they could cry, the worst thing they could do is laugh. That's literally the last thing you want from somebody, and she couldn't help it. Based on her day, based on her week, it was funny. It was truly ironic, so I understood her reaction, but his was so brilliant.
Well, it's also like he's sitting there he was just suffocating himself. Like the biggest sign of an unstable person ever. And he's like, let's bring a baby into this situation.
That is very, very realistic to what people do. Like, I'm not happy with our relationship right now, or I'm not satisfied in life right now. We should add a baby.
Yeah.
We should add a thing that'll distract from the thing we were just talking about.
I feel like this is something that Kevin has thought about, though. Probably especially since Tommy has come back into his life. And Tommy speaks very fondly of Kevin when he was bringing him up. I sort of get and maybe colored by the whole story, the whole thing with Lily. And we don't know if Tommy told Kevin about the situation with Lily and Christine.
Yeah.
Maybe he thinks
I would think
this
not.
Yeah.
Tommy seems pretty low key and trustworthy.
Yeah.
Because I think if Tommy had told Kevin about the Christine situation, he would have also told Kevin that he had killed somebody. Because Kevin last week seemed to be unaware that this was not the first time Tommy had killed someone.
Right.
Was that?
Season 1, Tommy killed someone.
Right.
That's right.
But I don't know if that's something you go around saying as easily as your wife. This is what's going on.
Yeah,
the whole
your
story,
wife might
yeah.
need emotional
Support,
support because
yeah.
she's
Different than-
doing something crazy.
He may have told her that. He
Right.
may have told
a little
Kevin that.
different from I killed somebody.
Yeah.
I would assume that's all part of the one giant story we saw in season 1.
Hey, Chief of Police, Dad, I murdered a guy one time.
It was chill, though.
Well, actually, it started when I left you when you were in Mapleton because I went and joined this guy who I thought
the point is complicated,
knew the answers.
But it's at this point that she gets a call that about the next step in this, whatever the whole Martin Lynn Baker radiation
$20,000 cash.
20 grand.
I just need to point out, do we think $20,000 is the down payment or that's all they're asking? That has to just be the down payment.
They
Well,
said
they
it's
said it's
based
based
on
on-
Your net income, but
she's a government employee. She can't make that
But
much.
she's a
She's a book series that murdered it. I mean, she had her book.
well,
that
and she also
made
had
her
an insurance
millions.
settlement for three family members. She was able to buy that house in Jarden. I would assume that
Oh yeah,
house
but that used every penny, didn't it?
yeah.
But it is net
and-
worth, which would include a
The
home.
house, yeah.
Yeah, so but I feel like after what happened to Jarden, the price of that house would have gone down. My estimation was $20,000 is 5% of her net worth. Do we think they're charging 5%?
Remember before when you were talking about how close Erica lived, and I said that's not weird of you? This one was you taking it a step too far.
Give me time, guys.
This one
Give
was
me
you
time.
nerding
I'll
out
get
a
in there.
little hard.
I think this is a down payment because radiation's expensive.
Anyway, maybe.
Other
not-
little tidbits. Mary has moved back to Mapleton.
I still don't trust Matt, even though he keeps saying I'm not lying. I don't trust you, Matt. I don't trust you at all. I never trusted you.
There's something sketchy going on
So
with Matt.
sketchy.
All right, we got to talk about that ending
Yes, we have
sequence
to.
while we still have time. Because, whoa. Whoa!
It was 2 different episodes of TV tonight.
Yeah, that little ending.
With 2 completely different sets of characters and 2 different locations, 2 different tones. Wow.
When prophecies go wrong, dang.
So we're under the impression, correct me if I'm wrong, that this book has been released. These women have gotten this book, and they are assuming that this Kevin in Australia is our Kevin and that he can't die, so they drown him.
Because the book doesn't state geography.
Yeah.
Is that what we're...
That's what we're left to assume as of this moment.
And while we're watching, we're thinking, what year is this? And then we see Kevin's father.
I'm assuming it's
which is
around
Kevin Sr.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's around about the same time.
Because, like, that makes 3 chief of police Kevins involved in this. Can I just say how much I loved the homage to the pilot with the start of this? Because this chief of police Kevin hits a kangaroo in the exact sequence that our Kevin hits a deer in the season 1.
I thought it was going to be him when he got out of the car.
I did too. But like basically the difference is like where Kevin sort of stood over the deer and like was like upset by it. This guy just like kangaroos, blam, like shoots it, like and moves on with his day.
Crikey, occupational hazard.
What do you guys think about Grace? What do we think about Florence? Who are these women? Why is this their mission? What is happening?
So it seems like Michael might have put the book on the internet. That might be what happened here.
Or an excerpt of the book on the
Interesting.
internet.
Yeah, because we know he was it appears, we don't know, but it appeared in last week's episode that he was typing it
Watching porn.
in that scene.
Looking at the Mapleton Gazette.
He slammed the book. He slammed his laptop shut. He had the book right next to him. It seems likely that he was typing up at least passages from the book. The implication seems to be that these 4 women have found the book. They quote theoretically part of it, and he
The part
touched the
where
stone to his chest. I'm trying to remember exactly. They say and he looked at them and waved, but they did not respond.
Yes, talking about Evie and those girls because he remember
Yes, that's right.
the
Evie,
car
Evie, yeah.
and they did everything with the car because they were making it look like they depart, and he in his blacked out state has the thing and he looks over
Yeah.
and yeah.
I like that they wrote it in Bible like verse.
I
Of
like
course,
that.
it makes sense.
I like that, however...
It makes sense to the characters.
However, I think a more factual account would have saved Kevin from Australia's life.
True, unless they think that this Kevin relocated or something along those lines.
Yeah.
But small nerd geek out fact for a second. Went back, was rewatching those episodes. Evie, remember how she had those 2 friends? She had the 2 friends. It was the 3 girls. One of those girls is Violet Bean, who plays Jessie Quick on The Flash.
What?
All small nerd word, but she says no words. And I think when we did the after show, we were talking and we were like, they're trying to give her 5 lines. They're trying to get this girl SAG, because they said nothing. Obviously, guilty remnant. But I thought that was cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, just a nerd fact.
Oh, but okay, back to Australia. They straight up just murdered the wrong Kevin.
Straight up. It's
Straight up. Were you guys wondering while they're drowning him were you like, maybe he'll wake up? Or were you guys thinking the
they
whole time?
absolutely thought this was Kevin. And then
No, I know, but did you think maybe there
That
was a
all
way
the
that
Kevins-
this... Yeah, something. I
all
don't
the
know.
chief of police Kevin...
Grace was just so short. Like, Grace Playford,
Yeah.
I'm doing this. I'm positive. Everybody's like, all right, Grace. Dead wrong.
I didn't
Literally,
feel that.
Dead wrong.
I feel like
I
people get
didn't either,
prophecies.
but-
People get prophecies wrong.
All
Do
the time.
you guys? I mean, the
I think
question
Neville
is.
Longbottom was who that prophecy was meant for. Sidetrack.
The question is, when do we think this is? If Kevin Sr. and Kevin Jr. have a similar ability to not die, then it's possible that this could be the same timeline as wherever old Nora is.
Well, I think
Yes,
there's
and
2 questions.
Potentially not age as quickly either, we had talked
Yeah.
about.
Well, there's actually 2 questions. A, do we think they were referring to the book that we're talking about in Jardin All, or do we think they were referring to Kevin Sr.? That there's some type of... Because we know
quote
nothing about Kevin Sr.
literally just
Yeah.
describes
I know,
Kevin Jr.
but prophecies are weird.
Bridge 4 in the chat. As a Kevin, I have a new fear of going to Australia. I think that is
Just
completely fair.
as long as you're not a chief of police, you can even be a cop. Just don't be the chief, and
I mean,
you're
it would
fine.
be... But to be safe, don't. If you ever go to Australia, don't do law enforcement at all. You might wind up a chief of police.
At least this guy kind of seemed like a douche. The way
Yeah.
he was talking to the other guy, and the other guy's dog was sick. Which, by the way, what did you guys think about that guy's dog being sick? It's like,
Oh God!
They want
I didn't
us
even
to think
draw
of-
that line.
They want us to think a lot about that.
I did. I thought a lot about it.
Are the Kevins carrying the disease with them? Is it even a dog?
I'm still on the yes, it's a dog theory. Dogs are dogs.
Oh man. Oh,
So,
all
is it-
right.
yeah.
Should we talk predictions?
We have to.
We're definitely-
we're
We're
out
almost out
so
of
we
time,
gotta-
so let's talk predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV
Everybody breathe.
predictions.
Oh my God! Next week we're getting a frickin' Kevin Senior episode.
Thank goodness.
Oh,
Remember
it looks
that
so
episode
crazy.
of him in that diner and just like how much we loved that and him just wilding out there? That's what I need. I just need
get a-
Kevin Senior at his Kevininess.
We get a whole episode of all of that.
I know.
Do we think it has to be flashbacks from Mapleton to now?
I don't know. We could just go from now.
Well, what is?
How did he wind up in Perth? What does he do in Perth?
I don't. If this
How
is
does he know
real
those
time,
ladies?
That's fair.
If this is real time though, and we don't jump back yet, then what does he do about the fact that these women just murdered somebody? Because he's gonna find that out.
Yeah, he's gonna
He's gonna
be
call the
right
chief
there.
of police.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many questions about what to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see Scott Glenn just go ham on this.
Why did little Kevin want to go to Australia with Nora? Does he just want to be with Nora? Does he want to go to Australia? Does he want to see his
He
dad?
has to know his
I think-
dad's there.
He does know his dad's there because he
Because of
talked
TV.
to him in the hotel.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether he knows that his dad is there, he believes that his dad is there because
Right.
of that vision.
As long as he believes that vision, which
Yeah.
he seems to.
Yeah.
So am I the only one who's expecting flashbacks?
No,
I think, as you say, I think it's reasonable.
I don't think that this show ever really addresses the timeline of things. Like, we might see things that could either be flashbacks or in the future, and we maybe don't know. So, but yes, I do think we are going to get some semblance of how we got here.
Yeah, how he wound up in Australia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Man.
If Nora's coming to Australia now, does she just never leave? Is this just?
If you believe everything
maybe-
you've seen is linear on one Earth,
Maybe
yes.
they never leave. Like, we could spend
Right.
the rest of the season in Australia doing I don't know what.
Yeah. And is this part? Last week, Zach, you predicted that maybe they had to hide Nora and
Yeah.
Kevin, and maybe this is why, because these women
people
are
are
out
trying to kill him.
Yeah. Yeah.
People believe the book, but not enough to just meet Kevin's and go, "You're it. You're it. I follow you now."
Imagine if Jesus walked on Earth, what would happen? There would be all different people going
That's
after him.
how many Twitter followers would he
basically
have, though?
because
All of
of
'em.
because of Michael and Matt. Like, that's what's about to happen.
And kind of John.
And John, the three of them.
Nora,
The three of them
Nora
wrote it.
throws that right at John. I love
read
that
your book.
feistiness. Yeah, in the bathroom. It was good. 20 minutes. Couldn't put it down.
Ah.
Yes, Nora. I love you.
But yeah, all right.
Yep.
We're out of time. I'm so excited. I've enjoyed Scott Glenn on like Daredevil recently. Like, just so we know he can handle some action. I don't know what we're gonna get next week. I'm so jazzed. All right. Until then, where can everybody find you guys? Ladies first.
Oh, I'm Roxy Striar. You can find me everywhere at Roxy Striar.
And I'm Steve Kaufmann. You can find me on Twitter at Steve Kaufmann. That's Kaufmann. And if you're watching the show, you probably like to get weird. I like to get weird on Snapchat. It's also at Steve Kaufmann.
Like how weird we talking.
Follow me on Snapchat.
I'm frightened.
So
All right,
frightened.
guys. I'm Zach Wilson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Zach Wilson. Be sure to check out some of the other after shows that I do here, including Doctor Who and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Until next week, guys, be safe. Try not to be part of the 2%. And thanks for geeking out with us.
Be safe.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.